Good day and welcome to your favorite sport program on TV, PlusSports. As usual, today will be an interesting moment on the show. I am Mudashiru Shittu. We'll be looking at something interesting that been the talking point in the past few days, and that's why on this show, whatever is trending on social media, on this show, whatever is going around that is worth talking about. That's why we bring in experts to really dissect some of all this topic. And today's topic, we'll be looking at the Nigerian Football Federation, Austin Eguavoen, the present interim coach of the Super Eagles and foreign coach, and the call for the foreign coach. So we'll be looking at this to really see whether there's a need for N.F.F to bring foreign coach or Eguavoen, because there have been media reports that the two games, Austin Eguavoen, ex-international that we know as Cicero, that is in charge of the two games, Benin Republic and the game against Rwanda, that is a call from fans to retain him as the coach of the Super Eagles. But speaking with me and doing a lot of analysis on this topic is Dr. Martin Morgan, who is an African sport administrator. It's good to have you on the show, Dr. Martin Morgan.
Nice to be back again, and nice talking about the best thing we know how to do. And it's very interesting. You know, we are talking about football and sport generally. It's what hold on, the unity we have, where we have one voice, where it's devoid of partisan affiliations. So once the sport is doing well, all of us are united for one purpose. Yeah, just like you said.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. The last time before we spoke, we were in search of a foreign coach. We got one coach from Germany. From there, still now we had Eguavoen as the interim coach. Between now and then, there's now a call for Eguavoen to be retained as the substantial coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, the football men's national team. What can you say about this? Though N.F.F haven't said anything about whether it should be retained or not, what's your opinion? Because it has to do with N.F.F, Eguavoen, or the foreign coach. What's your expert opinion on this?
Well, for me, if you look at it, it's like a mixed bag reaction. We are putting everything in the same laundry bag and trying to get all what to be done at the same time. But honestly speaking, N.F.F have a passion, a greedy passion for foreign coaches. Greedy passion for foreign coaches because they serve as a pipeline for them to be able, for the cartel in the N.F.F, to use it as a means of enhancing the self-interest and their own program to the detriment of what football ought to be. With the number of foreign coaches we have had in this country for football, in terms of football, by now, our football status shouldn't have been where we are, because the administration should have been a top-notch. There will have been a continuity of the administration. It's just for us to adapt. But unfortunately, we are not been able to get it because the people in the glass house have various motives of trying to have a foreign coach for the nation in the name of the foreign coach. We understand, you and I know, Stezo, Austin Eguavoen, apart from being the former captain of the national team, currently is the current director, technical, for the N.F.F in the glass house. We saw what happened. I think it's always a quick fix for N.F.F, where everything fails. We saw how they smuggled one certain Bruno Labbadia from the back door after the meetings or they had trying to lure Eguavoen, N.F.F, and other coaches to come in, and it never worked. Only for us to wake up on one Tuesday that we say the Nigerian coach is Bruno Labbadia, ex-German international. After 3 days or 2 days, on a Thursday, the man said, no, I'm not continuing. The N.F.F came up with a statement that why the talk failed was because of the double taxation in Germany. Are they not just telling us that this is the first time we're having a German coach? Those are some of these questions we need to ask. But prior to that, they were telling us even in the Paris Olympics that they have been having meetings with top European coaches. Eguavoen now, be reliably trying to make to understand that. He said he cannot come in when the administration is not good, though he's handling the French national team, the female French national team. So for Cerezo Eguavoen, we saw that the last AFCON in Cameroon 2 years ago, we saw him that he was in charge as a quick fix also, and took us to Cameroon. First 2 matches, okay, fine, it was very okay. But when he was eliminated by Tunisia, we were all calling for his head. That is football fans for you. The same N.F.F now came out with another theory, trying to give us another one, say, fine, let Cerezo Eguavoen came. And I must commend his courage. He's always coming in and take up the responsibility where there's nowhere. And this is one thing we must encourage him. So if you have such a personality in your fold, why not give him that long time and leverage? Why not give him that opportunity? All the good things you want to give to that foreign coach. And mind you, Bruno Labbadia will have just come and chip in and become a champion in a cheap popularity from these games. If I thought he has stayed, I am sure between you and I will be lamenting that why shouldn't I stay and just get a cheap popularity and update my CV? Then you must give kudos to Augustine Eguavoen for what he has done, the patriotism and so why not give him that time, give him the chance to go? The long time we are intend giving to the white guys. If Finidi failed because the timing was short, Finidi was appointed as a bait to make him fail because of the cartel there, and that is what happened. But ironically, Augustine Eguavoen, living with them, staying with them, living with them, literally speaking, is there in that glass house where they don't throw stones, but they are fond of throwing stones there. So he knew how the stones were coming, the direction of the stones, and he took it very well and got a result for us at Uyo and another result in Kigali. So based on that, if the players have agreed to play for him and they respect him, which is a backup with the local one, Fidelis, and the other one, and the backup from those ones are with the foreign physical trainer. If that chemistry, that formation is working, why do you have to go and search for a black goat in the dark in the name of the foreign coach? You don't need it. Yeah. So give him the opportunity and let him move on.
But what do you think is the reason for that desire for the Nigerian Football Federation to always want a foreign coach, when over the time they have been proven there are local coaches, ex-internationals? What do you think is the reason? Because it's enough. Because that same result that Eguavoen, supported by Fidelis Ilechukwu and also Daniel Ogumodede as the assistant, is enough. It's the same result probably that the best foreign coach will probably give to us.
That's what I'm saying, that he will have just chip on that cheap popularity and make himself a hero overnight. That will have been the same thing.
So with 2 games, we got 4 points, and we are currently, if not mistaken, on the log table of that qualifiers. Why do you think N.F.F continues searching for a foreign coach? And this is something that needs to be studied.
Well, the need of searching for a foreign coach is not far. Corruption, pocketing of money, commission, markup, references, satisfying the boys. Those are these elements. And at the same time, internally, they used to have this notion that most of our guys playing in Europe or in foreign countries, they don't have regard for I don't like using the word local.
Is that true? Is that statement true?
It's just an assumption. It may be possible that maybe between the line, you see your former local coach and you say, Coachy, just have this one for your bottle of beer or Coke and buy bread for madam. So it will have been misinterpreted. We know we give, Nigerians give. But they don't believe that that one, it can be excessively abused. It's there, it's a factor. But they felt that with the foreign coach, that element would not be there. But they refused to tell us that when Presario was crying, that the money he's signing on paper is different from what he's getting back.
Serious?
They refused to check into that. They refused to get into that issue. For me, all of us know Eguavoen, we know Cerezo, we know Finidi, we know that squad. So, what we intend to do that, if the boys are, a coach becomes better when the players agree to play for him. Like what you saw, the tension in the country was so high. And what happened in Baba Yara Stadium, Kumasi, we don't want it to happen here because we have a bitter dose of what happened in Moshood Abiola Stadium when Ghana defeated us. But this time around, when Angola defeated the Blasters of Ghana, we know what happened in Baba Yara Stadium.
Yes.
So we don't want that to go. Honestly, and they were able to take out the cheaters of Benin Republic and we're able to send them to the cleaner with Mr. General.
So what do you think? What do you think happened in the first leg that we played against when the man called ex-international Finidi George, popularly known as Finito? What happened in the first game that I think we lost? What happened? What's the difference between that game that Finidi lost and the game that Eguavoen lost? Won.
Prior to that game in Abidjan, what happened? You can see that there was a backroom struggle. There were some players who were not happy, and that was orchestrated by N.F.F. Prior to that game, the whole world, we were aware that Emmanuel Amunike supposed to be the coach of the Super Eagles, was there. All the enemy were very ready about that. Then overnight, and it was agreed that Finidi was to be his assistant. And supported by Daniel Omokachi, if you remember, taking back to history. So overnight, we saw that there were a lot of maneuverings, which unreliable, quote me, unreliable information, but may be factual, that it became political, that one big man from that area spoke to another big man for his former club, who were a member of the technical committee, and they agreed. Only one ex-international said, no, let us follow the right procedure. And it didn't work. I was a member of the technical committee. And they left. And I look at that. My blame also go to Finidi for him to have accepted that position in place of his friend, Emmanuel. But that is all history. So there was that issue now that he had to come up with a group of players he posed to him that, yes, he must use this certain player to execute this action. And he went to Abidjan and they lost to Benin Republic. And a couple of we came back, we saw the outburst of the center nine, Vito Sime, and we saw the outburst of what happened to Captain Ekong. We saw the outburst of some of the players who persecuted AFCON that were not part of it. And we didn't get the result. So invariably, and they gave Finidi an opportunity to fail in the sense that they put him in a tight corner, they throw a bait at him, and he swallowed it, hook, line, and sinker. And the thing caught him on between. That is why he failed. But then when we rejuvenated the Eagles, okay, fine. There was no more coach. I think at the time when there's confusion like that, it also helped us. Then Cerezo take over a week to or 2 weeks to. Cerezo agreed. And most of the players were invited. 70% of those players were invited and injected the former players that the player themselves need into the team. And he came in, and in that wisdom, he brought in those who are doing very well in their various clubs in the Continental to assist him. And that was a very positive one. And those who came to assist him were not the same old wine that we used to know, the like of Boso, Salisu, and Co.
Exactly.
That we used to know. It's not there. So they brought some new guys, Fidelis Camara and Daniel. So those people injected new because it's a preparation of a transitional program.
Definitely.
Because of the top players. So that you know them because they have played on that team. So that chemistry, the aura alone gave victory. And the players themselves, the boys decided, at this point in time, you don't need to disappoint. They agree. Cissé Aliou, the coach of Senegal, how long has he stayed in that team now?
He has stayed for a long time.
A very long time, more than 7 to 8 years. And he's getting results. He keep on transiting and changing the players. Why not give a longer program also to our Nigerian coaches or our local coaches? So they have the same transitional program, they update their skills, and they know what to do. And the boy will start having respect for them and start getting positive results. The management of Nigerian football is what is causing the problem of our upward result. The people in that N.F.F, they have overstayed their usefulness in the sense that we used to have the Decree 101 but the act of parliament of selecting that commission is faulty. And I have made it known that the minister need to look at the federations. The nasty experience we had in the Olympics in Paris was as a result of the federations, the ineptitude of the federations. That thing has also translated to this. And if they want to talk, they will say FIFA will ban you, CAF will ban you, International FIFA will ban you. All those things are stories. Because as far as the federations are not independent financially and you fund it, you cannot tell me that you will be banned because I want to get the best. We are not interfering in the football. We are trying to get. The N.F.F is over-bloated. Most of the people don't have jobs doing them.
Dr. Martin, well said. Your observation, your analysis on point, very straightforward, like the man you are. But let's not. Does Eguavoen really deserve? Emotions apart, is the Nigerian apart, is the technical director apart. Looking at 2 games, 4 points, giving us hope when we lost it. Now, do you think it's deserved to be retained? Looking at it holistically.
Holistically, with the crop of players he's now having now, with the possibility of injecting those who are going to come up from his backup assistants without influence, give him 5 years program. Let him continue with the N.F.F, with the team. But once he does that, that money, siphoning of that money in the name of foreign contract will not come. This is where the corruption in the N.F.F will fall back. They have been asking for auditing of the N.F.F. The National Assembly, and how many years? Are they audited? Have you their balance sheet? Nothing. So this is where the whole thing lies. Presero has been cleared all. I don't want to go into that detail. So
Let's I would say
let us praise the one we have here.
Yeah, let's look at what we have here, because there are a lot of issues that
you know me the way I am now.
Yeah, definitely. So now let's look at this. Eguavoen is going to be or not. But why do you think a lot of fans are calling for him to be retained? Apart from the fact that he has all the knowledge to be there. But why do you think the fans, especially, because we cannot forget the 3 games in the last Nations Cup, he took us to Eguavoen, we lost in the round of 16, and now people are calling for him to be retained. How good of a man is Eguavoen?
Well, for me, Eguavoen is not the first time, apart from Cameroon. He was in Tunisia.
I think he has given us a bronze medal before.
Yes. It's not the first one. I remember the incident in Tunisia there with my late friend, Peace Agbama. When they were to give interview and Chuku was to call, I said, so I know Igbo. Because the guy was asking the question in French. He said, I speak in Igbo. It's funny, we are laughing. But then at the same time, since he has volunteered, he has agreed, he become a willing horse. Like boxer in animal farm, a willing horse. Let us give him the opportunity and give him a time frame of 5 years. That contract you want to give to that white man's skin, I'm not a racist. What is he going to do different from what Eguavoen is going to do? Like I keep on saying, if Bruno Labbadia have not run through the back door he came in,
he probably must have gotten
cheap popularity.
Just the way Garnacho and others.
Yeah, cheap popularity, and he would have just rise up his profile for nothing at the detriment of somebody who is there doing the job. We can't continue like that. It is high time.
But you want to give applause. Yeah, sorry, I need to ask this before we go to the next topic that we're talking about today. Do you think it's a good recommendation, a good decision, rather, that they called Fidelis Chuku? It was with MFM, Enugu Rangers, I think it was with Plateau United, not so sure of that. Yeah. Then Ogun Modede,
United, yes,
Remo Stars, been to the Continental. And was it a good add-on? What do you think was the purpose of that?
The purpose of that is for us to scan the local players in the leagues and see how a transition will come up as a backup. That is just That is just the thinking. There are no thing. If you are a tactician or an analyst and you understand this game without bias, you understand that is it. That is the essence. It's
Okay.
a young one. It's a young man, and the two of them really understood. And if you watch very well, even throughout the game, you see them putting their heads together. Because Daniel was also having notes, checking notes, even though they have an analyst. So
Okay.
it gives you that understanding that chemistry can work. Why not try the formula?
Okay. Yes, away from that, away from the 8th national, away from N.F.F, Eguavoen, and foreign coach, look at our second topic of today, which is the 8th national youth games. As we speak, several states, 36 most, at least most times it's always more than 30 states we have at the national youth games, are in Asaba, the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba for the 8th national youth games. And this is where the future of, like is expected it to be, the future of Nigerian sport is being selected, the best of the best. But there's something going on right now, and we're going to hear about that in the report after the discussion, is the very fact that the Delta State Governor and the Sport Minister are saying that there should be an age shift, because if it under 15th, but are saying that it should be under 17th. Of what purpose is this National Youth Games, and has he achieved its purpose?
Well, for me, the whole idea of a youth game is talent hunt.
Okay.
How to nurture them. The question I want to ask, the one we did last year, and those talents we got, where are they? Where is the data?
That's a very good question.
How far have we been able to do the progression? No age cheat. Are we now monitoring them? Are we preparing them? Because whether you like it or not, go back to the Olympics. Our Olympic teams, they are aging. They are aging, and there's need for replacement. So now, from that age, 15 or 17, is to grab this talent and nurture them and follow them and ensure that the talent plus education, sport plus education, goes in pari passu. But if we don't succeed in doing that, we will not be able to get what we expect. Though it's going to be on a yearly event, but each talent being gotten, we should be able to have those data secured, follow them in their various schools, in their various states, in location. How are we following them? Because the following year, are they really continuing? Is that the age? Are they continuing? Is it a dropout because of academic issue? Is it because they could not afford their school fees, so they couldn't continue their life and their school? So these are the things we need. It's not only organizing. There should have been a proper follow-up. Let me tell you, the last Paris Olympics we had, we discovered that 330 medals were won by students from 26 countries across the world. The USA NACA universities won more goals who are representing the United States. They won more goals. What does that tell you? It tells you that the future of sports and the rest, no matter the age, has a very positive factor we need to use to understand that, yes, we need to nurture. When we used to have Nuga, Nipoga, secondary school sport, what happened to those athletes? And this is what the NCCA in US, in NACA, are using from the various teams. Team America, Team USA, in the Paris Olympics, they have more undergraduate students than any other one. So like I'm telling you, 330 medals were won in Paris Olympics from students from 26 countries. I still repeat. So how many of our students made up the team to win? Go and check. It's there. The records are there. So what do we do? So that tells you that initially, so we should go beyond the fanfare, the razzmatazz, the jamboree, or having the politicians all around surrounding us. You should look at the need. What happened? How are we preparing? Our youth athletes went to Peru. They never even won anything. They didn't perform well.
At all.
So what happened? What happened to those ones we discovered last year? Did you put them on the trial to be part of it? So these are the sequences we are trying to look at. Muda. So it's not that jamboree will come and give us press statement and no. We don't. We are gone past that age. We are going past it. What happened to our Nuga games? What happened to our Nipoga games? Very soon we are going to have another games in Ogun State. What are we doing? So when you prepare this one and you don't nurture them, me, I will not say, okay, if they have opportunity to split up to other countries, they will switch allegiance.
I think
we saw it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's something that is worrisome and is cause for concern. As someone that have covered the National Youth Games several times, it's obvious that the last 3 National Youth Games, you probably not see any of them in the national team of any sport in the country.
That's what I'm saying you. That's what
it's
I'm
the same set of people that have been in the National Sport Festival, national team are still there.
Yeah,
so the question is,
no. Yes. Another development that is coming out that we have to be very careful. Our Paralympics just came back. They came back with 6 or 7 medals. Very dismal appearance because they are aging. What are we doing to replace them in the next Olympics that is going to take place in Los Angeles?
It's the same set of people that will definitely go.
The same set of people and the age is not going. Sport is a game whereby there's an age you get, your body will tell you don't do. You can't continue. And that is why we saw it here. It's not the issue of prayers. Prayer does not win you medal. Just like what we saw in Paris. When S.A. Brume was to take it qualified, while the other guy was mastering the tactician on what to do, how to swing, how to change their position to ring. Our own coaches were telling us, let us pray. They were holding their hand, they were praying inside, I cast you. Who are you casting? When you don't plan. So you will not win. So these are the things we are talking about. We are getting the talents, nurture them, follow them because they are from various states. What are the various state sports commission and education? So that's synergy with Minister of Education in the state and the federal.
Dr. Martin, well said. But there's a question that why do the sport ministers that come just follow the lay down prototype or blueprint without wanting to change? Because the ministry are always the one that will definitely benefit from all these unstandard, unstructured mechanism. So, but why is that the sport minister doesn't have his plan? Nobody's telling the sport minister this thing hasn't worked. Nobody has been at the national games that are from the youth games on the national team, international event. Or is there a separation between the youth games and what we should be expecting outside?
Well, I think you and I know the red tapeism and the status quo syndrome as related to bureaucracy in terms of administration. But all the same, it is high time we make that type of suggestion to look. We need to change these approaches. There's need to change this approach. We need to change our mindset. We should go away from participation. We should go for preparation and win medal. We should go for objectives. Look at the Chinese. They start preparing. They start stretching. Even the games that the Americans were dominant, or the Russians, the Eastern Europe were dominant. Gymnastics and the rest, Bulgaria, Poland, and the rest. The Chinese are now doing it.
So well.
Synchronization. We did a game. So why are we not doing it? Not that we don't have those people around.
So let's, Dr.
I'm not interested.
Dr. Martin, it's a very critical topic that we're talking about, something that concerns the future of our youth. And definitely, you'll be so passionate about it. And I'll be so much worried by the situations. And like a lot of Nigerians are there, and even Africans are watching us, that we want to be sincere with ourselves. We want to make things where it should be. We just want a week of jamboree, like you called it. Now, let's ask this very important question. The Delta State governor, representing the people of Delta, in his speech said that there should be the restriction should be 17 downwards, not 15 downwards. That means you should be having any other athletes from 17, 16, 15 downwards to participate. While the standard right now, even in this sport festival going on in Asaba, is 15. Will a change of date, will a change of age change anything in what this is all about?
No, 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 no. It has nothing to do. Rather, if you have a regular talent that is 15, it's not left for you to nurture him or her. What will be the best interest? You ensure he goes to school. The nutrition. What are our athletes eating? Fufu and akpo, carbohydrates. What are they eating? Those ones who are now doing those energy sapping things, what is the technicality that they need to upgrade? How am I sure they are still paying their schools within the time that they will continue when we are putting them an eye? Are they only good to be used and dumped? Then when it comes to selecting for national team, then reference letters start coming from left and right. By now, we should be able to have data.
Of course,
Data
that
which are not hidden data, data that can be highly verifiable data. In athletics, in javelin, under 15, we have so 5 people from Delta, we have 3 from Kano, we have 4 for Sokoto. In cycling, we have 3 from Borno, we have 2 from Katsina, we have this data. Then how do you upgrade? How do you keep on monitoring them? In terms of male and female, at what age? Female, they are reaching the age of puberty and the rest. But their menstrual cycle and the rest. How do we engage and help them that this swing does not affect them in terms of event? These are all the elements, my
and
brother. We need to
also
understand.
what
And
we
the body, which environment is this thing?
okay, Dr. Martin, we also know that, just share your opinion before we go on this report, the opinion on the very fact that when this game started, it started in, I think, in Abuja, the first edition, before it was taken to University of Ilorin. University of Ilorin, about 4 or 5 editions was held in University of Ilorin. And now it has been announced yesterday by the sport minister, who I believe is your friend, said that that Delta State government, Delta State itself, will host it for the next 5 years. And to analysis and report, that's worrisome. It does not give any other state a time to prepare. Well, why do you have to give a particular state, like the University of Ilorin LD, for almost 4 or 5 or 6 years, if I'm right? And now we have Delta going to host it for the next 5 years. Don't you think that would be not evil distribution of sport development? Because that's the biggest sport event in the country in youth segments, and next to the National Sport Festival. Don't you think it's appropriate if a state, at least the least is 2 years, to stabilize things, it will go to another state, and the state also make sure that, because the only time some governments and some states and governors pay attention for sport is when they are hosting events like that. What's your opinion on this?
Well, for me, I think this level of is it a concession policy, which to me I don't think will be very good. Like what you said, we should have had a rotational program for each state. If possible, each state should rotate so that the facility, like you said, will have been improved upon or renovated or start thinking. So each state will not think that this is what I'm. Then we're not looking maybe the issue of security. Security issue is prone to everywhere. But I am very certain that if you're able to do that, giving Delta State the right for 5 years, for me, it's a cheap popularity that is not helping other states. And a time will come, most of the states will not participate again because they will feel that why am I always participating in Delta? For instance, if you say Delta State in 5 years, okay, Delta have hosted twice or whatever. Okay, let's shift to River State, or let's shift to Cross River, or let's shift to any of these things. You will tell me about security. But I am very, very certain that sports as a unifying factor is a tool for us to spread and develop our facility. We are talking about facility. The whole of this country, it is only Uyo, Godswill Akpabio Stadium that we have that is fit for CAF games. That should tell you something that there's something wrong somewhere. So we cannot be participating in sport without developing our facility. Tomorrow, we start crying that we're supposed to go to abroad, we're supposed to go there. If you understand the pattern in what is happening last stage, they do zonal events. It rotates, it goes from one point to another point, one zone to another point. That gives you the easy sense of belonging. That gives you that, like you said, the reawakening that, yes, I need to put this facility in place. The state governor and the state commissioner will work in tandem with the federal government to say that we need to put this in time. We need to improve the security situation in this place. And that would have been another way of putting it. So giving that concession to Delta State, for me, maybe it's a political statement, but it's not, for me, it's not too positive to my thinking.
Yes, we still have you with us. That we have been speaking with Dr. Martin Morgan. We still have you. Don't go anywhere, Dr. Martin. We want just Nigerians and Africans across the continent and those that are watching us from all devices to have a report we made on the 8th National Youth Games. And when we come back, we'll still continue speaking to you as we're going to round up the program with you. But let's take our viewers to a report we made, which started yesterday. Many states came for that. So enjoy the report on the 8th National Youth Games that started at Asaba, the Stephen Keshi Stadium yesterday.
Ceremony of the 8th National Youth Games holding in Asaba, Delta State, was held on Thursday at the main bowl of Stephen Keshi Stadium. An exciting ceremony saw contingents of the participating states, including the Federal Capital Territory, taking part in the match past, followed by oath from athletes and officials pledging to abide by the rules of the Games. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented by the Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Enna, said the National Youth Games is devoted to talent hunting, noting that the focus on grassroots sports development is key to boosting the sector.
We are truly committed and dedicated to implementing the policies and the programs that will continue to deepen and continue to cater for sports development needs of our nation. I urge all sportsmen, all stakeholders to join the ministry and government in our efforts to reshape and to reposition our sports. This year's edition of the National Youth Games therefore presents yet another opportunity to initiate the process of athlete development for the next generation of Olympics and the Paralympic champions and the setting of world records.
That the Youth Games will continue and added as a nurturing ground for sports, blaming the decline in sports in the country. He, however, blamed the aging of athletes, assuring that coaches are on the ground to discover athletes.
Respond immediately to the appeal that was made by the governor of Delta State about the age limit of these games. I agree with him, and when you look at the calculations, 4 years after now, those competing in the 8th edition and at 15 years will only be 19 years. I think it makes more sense that when you turn back to the initial age classification of making these games to be under 17 and under. And I can assure the governor and stakeholders here that immediately I come to Abuja, I'm going to engage with the ministry officials. I'm going to be able to understand what was the reason behind the initial change and get the ministry to come back to the initial age classification. So when we gather here next year for the 9th edition, because Delta State has won the right to host these games for the next 5 years from 2023, we can therefore have games that celebrate our budding talents that are 17 years and below 17 years. On this note, I'd like to express my gratitude to the governor of Delta State, the government and the people of Delta State for being so gracious as hosts. To all the state delegations from across the country, I commend you all. I commend Your Excellency in particular for your continued support for sports development. Hosting a national competition at this time is no mean feat, and I therefore highly commend your effort. Comparing the opening ceremony of these games to the one that took place in 2023, I find a drastic improvement, both in terms of the attendance and in terms of the ceremony and the celebrations. And my hope is that the remainder of the games will proceed excellently and give us the best possible outcome.
In his remarks, the Delta State Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Eguavoen, commended the Federal Ministry of Sports Development for their continuing organization and appealed that the National Youth Games be reverted to national championship for under 15 to under 17 athletes.
National Youth Games has proven to be cost-effective and reliable tool to promote national unity and advance the development and peace agendas for both the national and sub-national governments. I am persuaded that before the end of this competition, new friendships will be formed among the athletes with prospects of building bridges of unity in the country. To all our athletes, I congratulate you on making it here. I urge you to compete fairly but fiercely. You may not always win, but you will be remembered for putting in your best. In sports hours, I encourage you to leave it all on the field. Remember that your family, friends, schoolmates, and even your respective states governments are rooting for you. It is my prayer that God will give you the strength to excel and make sporting career to the highest level by winning Olympic medals for Nigeria in years to come. To the coaches and officials, let fair play be your watchwords. As my closing remarks, permit me to observe that Nigerian performance at present world sporting events is on the decline. But I know that more effort will be put in. But if you don't understand, you think the problem is not the minister. The structure is quite different from other positions. It is considered, my view, that the age limit for the National Youth Games should revert to the original age limit of under 17 as against the current under 15.
6,000 athletes and over 1,000 officials have converged in Asaba State. Have converged in Asaba for the ongoing games. This year's attendance is a record number for the annual fiesta, as the 8th edition of the National Youth Games is scheduled to end with the closing ceremony being Friday, September the 19th. The opening ceremony of the 8th National Youth Games.
Interesting moment from the National Youth Games in Asaba. We want to say a big thank you for keeping on with us. And what can you say in regards to what we've heard so far about a lot of almost 6,000 and many kids also from across the state. What can you say about that? What do you wish them?
Honestly, I think, like what the Minister of Sports, Senator John Owaneno have said, even the governor, we can see a lot of improvement and trying to work out the modalities how we can be able to get it better. What stop us from always say, fine, if you look at that age, we can still divide that category into two. And start seeing other states can still sponsor and take the example of Delta State, so that we can have a synergy at the end of the day when we are getting, so you graduate from that particular age to another age, competition, so that we can run see just like what is obtainable like in France and in Spain. Under 15 is there. Then when you move on this on, we call it minim. We have what we call in French in the France set we have the cadet, we have the minim, we have semi minim, then we have the senior, which is the big one, and the senior one. So these are the category of what I think is if Delta State voluntarily have taken it. We can also see another state, and nothing stop two states who are joining to join and organize themselves and see. So these are the things we are talking about sport development. It must not be the sole unit of a particular state. For instance, we see Delta. You used to know that old Bendel, they used to be known for sports. If you remember the Bendel state of those days, which is and you used to be known that most of the sporting activity used to go, I mean, the school sport, a dog polo school, a co-boys high school, They are all from the Benin. We know them very well. And even in Nuga, you know how Uniben used to be very strong then in those days. They've seen a woman as our team captain. So these are the issues we should be able to now understand that, yes, we can reshape it and graduate the same way, like the way the Americans are doing. That is why, like I keep on telling you, that the last Olympic, more than 300 medals were won from university graduates. So this is what is telling you that we can change. Good thinking, but the implementations are not always what we get. So we can realign and reformat what suits us. Every state in this country is blessed with a particular group of talent in each age. Even the physical challenge, we can now do because we are aging. Whether we like it or not, our sports is an intensive care unit. It's an emergency situation we need to declare for our sport. In all that, let us not be overtaken by the euphoria of the super egos against Benin Republic. Our sport is not what ought to be at this stage. We should not be having sleepless night playing Benin Republic or Rwanda. At this point in time, there's something that we need to really understand. If the administrators are bereft of idea, let's pull them away and get other people into the system and let's work. Up till now, we don't even know what's happening in the federation. That long story of interference that the federation is calling, for me, it's just a subterfuge to use it to disturb what ought to be. But when they are sharing money, there's no interference. My parting shot.
Yeah,
We need to revive our sport.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Martin Morgan. Thank you very much for your time. We hope that we'll be talking to you in the nearest future, because your expert opinion and objectivity is always applauded by viewers watching us from across the continent. Thank you very much, Dr. Martin Morgan.
Yeah, thank you, and also for our viewers in other countries. I say thank you. Merci beaucoup et au revoir.
Yeah. Okay, we've been speaking with Dr. Martin Morgan, and if you're just joining us, we started with the Nigerian Football Federation, Austin Eguavoen, and the search for foreign coaches. Also, we now talk about the 8 national youth games that started yesterday in national Nasaba. And let's also not forget that it has been an interesting moment on the show, speaking about what the future holds. And let's don't forget, if you want to be part of the show, you can join us on all our social media platforms. You can join us on our X account, not forgetting Facebook and Instagram, for you to get the best in the world of sport. I'm Mudashiru Shittu. Same time next week, we'll be giving you all what you need to know in the world of sport. Bye for now.